guys, it's coffee time, and they're doing construction, so if while I'm talking random construction happens, I'm just gonna push through it, because screw them and their nonsense. So hi, I look super tired today, and whoa, and my hair's like all over the place, and I'm sure, that I'm gonna get a lot of comments that say you should get more sleep. I feel totally fine today. I don't know why I look this tired, so do with that what you will. But today, I would love to talk about Greece, because that is the next stop on our Europe trip. So if you would like to see the other three that I've talked about so far, you can go ahead and click Portugal, Spain, and Italy. Ding, 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 ding. And it will take you to my videos where I talk about those countries. I have stuff everywhere. Cleaning does nothing for me, apparently. So Greece. We loved Greece. When we were in Portugal, there were a bunch of Australian girls who told us that Athens sucked, that they hated it. So, we had felt like we were going to be going to Athens and experiencing a second Rome, basically. I only say that because of how, like, dirty Rome ended up being. Still cool, but very dirty. Athens is awesome. Did you know, apparently, this is what, we read. Did you know that 75% of the Greek population apparently lives in Athens? That makes no sense to me, but, that's what books say. That's what readable things say. So we started off in Athens. We were at this awesome hostel that was more like a hotel, really. It was super clean, and everything worked except the elevators were like this big, so you could only fit 1 or 2 people inside of it. And we have a little video, actually, of me, like, acting like I'm Spider-Man and crawling on the wall as the elevator went up. Good times. But no, it was super cool. It was one of those situations where the things that didn't work made it better, sort of an idea. So we really enjoyed that place. And then, our very first night, we came downstairs and we were like, we need some food. What's a cheap place to eat? And the guy was like, oh, you should go to George's place. And we were like, what's that? George's place was where we ate every time we needed to eat. We loved it so much. If you ever go to Athens, go to George's place because it is awesome. They had the best gyros ever that I've ever had in my life. It was so good. I crave it sometimes. Sometimes I daydream about George's place. That's how good the food was. But yeah, so we, while we were there, we went and saw the sights, and we found out that you could get, a pass where you could go and see all of the standard, like, tourist sites, and the pass was good for 5 days. So you had 5 days to see everything, and you paid a one-time price for it. And originally we were like, before we knew all of that, we were like, should we get a pass for everything? We're not going to be able to do it all in one day. And the second that somebody was like, no, you get 5 days, we were like, done. Because we really wanted to see all of this stuff. And you don't realize until you're there, like, I don't think that we fully grasped how big that stuff was. How big the stuff in Greece is. Like, when you go there and you're standing next to these giant pillars, you're like, I am so small. I'm already small, but like, oh, it was incredible. It's incredible. You have to go to Athens. If ever you're planning out a trip to Europe, you have to go to Athens because it's gorgeous. And like, we loved the city in general. Like, not even just the sights were awesome. But the city in general was great too. And I was still like trying to recover a little bit at that point, which I feel super bad about that. So we tried to take it kind of easy, but they made it like it's really easy to travel around there because all of the signs are in Greek and English for some reason. We appreciated it, but we were like, this is weird. Also, they actually have signs, if you recall me talking about how irritated we were that we couldn't find street signs half the time. Yeah. So, Athens was awesome. And we stayed there for 2 days, I think. And on the last day on our way out, because there's this dude named Stefanos, or Stephanos? I don't know how you would pronounce it for a Greek dude. Anywho, so when we first got there, he's the dude that runs the hostel. When we first got there, he was, like, holding Amanda's hand a lot, like, patting her hand, and we were like, whatever. And he kept mentioning the fact that she had her wedding ring on the wrong hand, and she was like, oh, no, this is, in America, we put it on the other hand. And he was like, oh. And then as we were leaving, he, like, seriously was going up to my brother and asking, like, if I was single, and all of this just random stuff about, how Jared should leave me behind so that he could marry me. And I was like, this is, no. And he wanted to take all sorts of pictures with us, but really only me, and he, like, pulled me into his lap and all this stuff, and so they finally, like, rescued me, and we were like, bye! And, like, took off. Because we needed to get a car. We had no time for shenanigans, for romantic shenanigans, because we were going to get a car and drive to the beach. So yeah, we went and got our car so that we could drive, because we wanted to spend a couple nights on the beach. So we got there, and they were like, oh yeah, so, dropping the car off is only free if you're dropping it back off in Athens. But if you're dropping it off anywhere else, then, sorry. But depending on how far away from Athens you are, you're gonna have to pay. We were like, crap. Because we were dropping off the car on the opposite end of the country. So we were like, so we had to pay, like, twice as much. Like, double the amount, that we paid for the car in general. We had to pay twice that, which sucked. But going to the beaches was so worth it. I can't remember which beaches we went to, so I'm going to look at, my journal doesn't say it, I already checked. I'm going to look at my sister-in-law's journal to see if I can remember. Okay. And now we're on to this one. And, oh, that's right, we stopped at, Meteora? Where was that? Was that already? Did that already happen? Yes. Decided to go to the cliffs of Meteora. That's where, they have a bunch of monasteries. And we showed up on a Thursday, not realizing that Thursday is the only day you're allowed to visit. And we were like, awesome. So that was like, win! So excited about that. That was gorgeous. That was incredible. The monasteries at Meteora, awesome. If you're, you have to be wearing something that covers your shoulders and your knees, and your feet, of course. And if you're a woman, you have to be wearing a skirt to walk in. But it was so cool. We walked in there and we were like, this is awesome. And actually, our favorite part was after you had walked through the monastery, there were cliffs where you could just, like, stand and just be, like, looking at everything. Because they're up on these super, super steep ledges. So we're, like, up on there just, like, gazing down, like, majesties. And, it was the coolest feeling. We were all just like, ah! I'm on top of the world. It was so awesome. So yes. Another thing, if you're ever in Greece, you should go to the cliffs of Meteora because they're awesome. Okay, now what was I actually looking for? I don't know if we said. The first one, okay. So the first one was like more of like a general campsite. P.S. Greek people love to camp, apparently, which is totally cool. Both campsites that we went to were completely packed, but not with tourists, with other Greek people. We were like, okay. The first one was a lot quieter, and it was just like a general campsite. And so we drove in, we had planned on just sleeping in the car. So we like hung out on the beach and just whatever. But when we tried to sleep in the car, we couldn't. And so, being smart Americans, we went and bought some ouzo and tried to have that help us. But really, we each only took like a swig. It was like a tiny bottle like this, because none of us had ever had ouzo, so we were like, we should have some. Maybe it'll help us sleep. Amanda hated it. I can't remember if Tyler hated it. I think Jared and I liked it. I liked it. It's strong, but I liked it. It didn't help us sleep, though, so we all went and tried to sleep on the beach, and the only ones who stuck it out were Tyler and I, and we got to see the sun rise on the Aegean Sea. It was awesome. But that was a terrible night's sleep. Terrible night's sleep. And so, because we had another night of, like, beach sleeping to do, we were like, oh, man, we're gonna get 2 nights of terrible sleep. Which, you know, what can you do? Not a big deal. But so we went to a different beach. We drove through Thessaloniki and got to a different beach that was way more, like, poppin'. Like, there was DJ music going on, and there were, like, stores all over the place. And we were like, oh, this is nice. Like, after having nice, quiet beach where we slept terrible, it's nice to have poppin', exciting, whatever beach as our final beach experience. So, yeah, so we drove through Thessaloniki, and I always forget. I can never remember like which is the American pronunciation and which is the correct pronunciation. So I just like choose one that I feel like I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot about Greece because one of my friends loves Greece and has been there twice, and did her entire thesis project on Greece. But anyway, yeah. So we drove through there. Went to a different beach, and this time we just, like, started off trying to sleep on the beach. And it was so awesome, because you could just hear, like, the DJ music in the background, and, like, it was just all dark, and we were just, like, warm, laying on the beach, just experiencing it. So cool, so cool. And, of course, we went swimming, and grabbed a bunch of rocks that later we were like, we don't need rocks. There's always that compulsion when you're at the beach to be like, wow, that's a cool rock, and then you're like, what am I going to do with this? Some people do things with them. I don't. But yeah, so had a horrible night's sleep again, and in the morning we all got in the car, and we were all really sad to leave Greece. That was the end of our Greece trip. We were really sad to leave. We had to drive back to Thessaloniki and hop on a plane to Hungary. That was our next stop. But Greece in general, Greece was awesome. The sights were awesome. Everything that we took the time to see, tourism-wise, was great. And really just, like, powerful. Very, very interesting stuff to see there. Definitely go to Athens. If you can, definitely go to Meteora. And go to the beach. Do all of the things that we did, and you will have a fantastic time, except maybe plan out how you're going to sleep on the beach a little better than we did. So yeah, that was our Greece time, and it was great, and we loved it, and I still want food from George's place so badly that I dream about it. So that gives you an idea of how good that food is. I'm going to get all of these messages from people being like, George's place isn't that good. And I'm going to be like, no, how can you say that? Anywho, yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. If I don't put pictures in this, if I forget to put pictures in this one again, tell me in the comments. Be like, hey, so that next time I go, they were so angry last time. Anywho, I'm going to go to work. Alright, bye-bye.